Good day. My name is Paul. I'm president of candlecharts.com, and joining me here today is Brian. Brian is a Nison Certified Trainer. He's been with our company for multiple years, and he was a former student. So, as well as being an all-around expert on candles, as being one of only the two Nison Certifieds who are teaching on behalf of Steve, I want to welcome Brian to the session where what I want to do is talk about this very exciting small group coaching program. Ever since we introduced it, excuse me, I've been getting a lot of questions from students from everywhere. So Brian, what I'd like to do in this very quick interview style video is just talk with you, tell you the questions that I keep getting here in the office about what small group coaching is all about. And because you are the lead mentor of the small group coaching program, get your answers, maybe a little bit of feedback from students from the prior group. So Brian, welcome to the session. And why don't you tell us a little bit about our small group coaching program?
Thank you, Paul. Yes, well, it's like the chart actually says that, this is your trading development support network. You join in here to get an opportunity to discuss what are you trading? Why are you trading? And of course, the big question is, well, how can I do it better? So it is a success formula that we are creating for people. We've got people that are in this program multiple times in a row because the program's never the same. The strategies are never the same that we talk about. It's always evolutionary. We keep talking and going forward. So if we click forward here, Paul, I've heard a lot of people call in and say, Brian, I'm struggling with my trading. And I've got this highlighted in red because, well, they're losing money on most of their trades. I mean, that shouldn't be the case. When we look at the market over the past 10, 20 years, it was hard to lose money. But again, with the wrong strategy, you don't know why you're buying, and of course you don't know why you're exiting either, and that's a real big question and a big problem. Then we got a few more. I got a couple of emails today, Paul. Some people said they have, I got some successful trades, got too many losing trades, and quote unquote, they're almost break even. Isn't that nice that they're almost break even? But emotionally, it's draining because they're putting in a lot of time, a lot of effort, and they're not really seeing the rewards. And again, we want to show you how you can make a better plan, and it's all about the trading strategy. So as you know, we've got the mycandlecharts.com. This is one place where we connect with like-minded people. We do the recaps each week, each day of the week actually, and we've got a few extra sessions of strategy sessions, but there's not a lot of personalized contact with the individuals. And ta-da, there we go. We've got the small group coaching, which is a little bit of education, a lot of support, and a lot of good old discussion between everyone. Because you say, yeah, but I use the 8-period moving average, and I say, well, I use the 5, but this is why, and this is how it works. It might not work for what you want to do, but it's easy enough to change, and we go through this together. Let me just click on, we do have a risk disclosure, Paul, so again, in case anybody was wondering, make sure you go to candlecharts.com/disclosure. Understand the risks of trading prior to placing any trades. And we don't offer trading advice, but a lot of, Paul, what we do talk about in these sessions are, this might be a good place to enter. Here would be your initial stop loss, an initial point to get out. If the market goes in the wrong direction, you're going, oh my gosh, I shouldn't have gotten in. Well, then you exit at a particular point. Of course, we talk about moving your stop losses as well so that you can get to break even as a minimum. Then you should be at least breaking even on all your trades. And that's just the question of how do you exit? And there we go. I mean, there's our little page. So candlecharts.com, and I've loved working with the company. I love hearing the feedback from the people of what their problems and their issues are, because a lot of them are fairly minor and they just need a little bit more organization. So of course we talk about trading strategies, which are written documents that you can hold up and read and say, right, I'm looking for only bullish engulfing patterns. Fine. Then if you see a bull sash, then you wouldn't be taking the trade. So again, it's like the picture has on here. It's like a little round table where we discuss our own strategy, bounce it off people. People throw ideas back at you, and so do I. I help manage the group. But we all throw our ideas in the center each week. And this goes over a 10-week period actually, where we help you grow and develop and see. It's the light bulb moment of, well, now I get it. Now I get why I should have entered here and not there, and where might be your great exits. Because sometimes the exits are tricky. In the sideways markets, when it's choppy, it's difficult to know when to get out. Well, that's why you join our program, and then you can learn better tactics on how to make money and put it in your pocket. Back to you, Paul.
Brian, thank you. Always great to listen to you talk about this, and your passion comes through. So what I'd like to do now is just ask you a few of the questions that I get most often about the program. First one, Brian, is, I live in blank country. Will this work for me? And when I say blank, I mean, we're talking about students we have people from 85 different countries in our database, and that have purchased our programs. So Brian, first question, can this work for me if I live in blank, and fill in the blank from anywhere around the world?
And I'm going to say yes, yes, and yes. I mean, there we go. I'm going to put the happy faces on the globe, and it wasn't any particular country, but it really does cover all continents and all countries. It doesn't matter where you are, what stock market you want to trade, or which market. And I put that in general quotes because you could be into commodities, futures, cryptocurrencies, or anything else. And it doesn't matter where you are. I mean, we've got a few people from Russia. I'm in London myself, and I know, Paul, you're in the U.S., and I know we've got colleagues in Canada, and even down in South America and Australia, New Zealand area. We're covering the entire world. India is also another big country. Yes, it's the same principles that are going to apply. And it doesn't matter what your candle charts look like. We're going to be able to throw on enough support and resistance. We're going to be able to develop and show you a strategy, or you can tell us your strategy. And then we can show you how to hopefully make it better, or to show you how to make it that little bit more mechanical, a little bit less emotional. And then you can go, now the light's on. Now I can see why and when I should enter, what I should be looking for. And Paul, it's the same around the world. You're not going to win at every trade, and you're not going to be making the full profit from the 0 up to the 100% mark. You're going to be taking hopefully the lion's share out of each trade, and that's great. And just be happy with every profitable trade that you're making. But again, the trading strategy is what's going to show you how to bring it all together on any market. And we love looking at the Indian markets and the Australian markets, obviously the US market where I trade mostly, but I do look at the UK market as well. And we also have some other countries. So yeah, definitely it works. Oh, actually, even the Middle East, I didn't mention that one. Paul?
Thanks, Brian. It's great that you answered that, because, I talk to all of our chat agents, and just by looking at the emails and phone calls that we get into the office, earlier this morning, I was on a phone call with someone in India. Overnight, we were talking to a group in Australia. We have somebody in Canada, South America. And then, funny, we had someone who lives about 20 minutes from where I live. So yeah, it's great to know that this interactive program works with students around the globe. And the great thing about this program is, yes, it is live. They are recorded, so you can always go back in and watch the recording, whether you were there live or not. And it does come with a Facebook group, and I'm sure Brian will mention that later. But you can always ask questions in between the live sessions, so that's great. Brian, next question, I get this very often. What do you mean by strategy? A lot of people think about trading as just, hey, let me throw a dart against the newspaper, figure out what stock I'm going to buy, and hope that it goes up like the rest of the market. So Brian, can you just fill us in a little bit on what you mean by strategy, why somebody would want to have a strategy, and how the small group coaching can actually help them?
And Paul, that's exactly where I started back in the day, that virtually, I might as well have been throwing darts at a board to say, well, okay, I'll buy IBM today. Didn't have a clue why. Oh, we had a green candle, it was up, so I guess we should buy it, it's going up. Well, it's not a good enough reason. So some of the things that people do, and this is what they send in to us, again, they post this in the Facebook group, or maybe they email me and they say, well, this is the chart, where should I have entered? Where could I have entered? What type of strategy could we be looking at? And there's multiple entry or possible entries on this chart alone. And here was one example. We had a piercing pattern right here. And it was also, and the comment was, it was also the third pullback since we had a cross of some moving averages. Great observation. because again, it's the fine tuning of what else did you see that hopefully helps you understand how to make a better strategy and trade. So the strategy is saying, well, I'm going to take this trade because I like that candle pattern, but maybe because it's the third pullback, if you will, back to one of my moving averages, maybe I don't expect it to run as far as what it initially did from when we initially turned up. I mean, here's another example. Someone's got lovely colors on their charts, which is great. Helps to visualize whether they should enter or exit. And we did discuss this actually quite a bit. And it was, I think this was from Tommy. And there was various reasons why we would enter as it turned green here. And there was certain reasons why we didn't want to exit, even though it turned red right in the middle. And then it carried on back up again in green. Right. We want to talk about, well, how many years history do you have, Paul? What's your experience with as a market goes from down to turning up? What's it normally do? Doesn't always, nothing is guaranteed, but we look at, everyone's experience with particular markets, generalized markets, and everything else. I mean, here's another example. Oh, okay, this is Costco as an example. I can see we've got a few arrows in here where we were entering particular candle patterns. And what were we looking for? What was the setup? So the strategy is, I've got to see A, B, C, D. And these are the things that I'm going to look for. Then I'm going to look for something else. And when I see it, then I will buy. Maybe I buy even a second time. I don't necessarily put all my eggs in the basket all at once. I might leg in a little bit at a time. And then, of course, we're going to look for potential areas to exit. And why would we exit? Just because we have a red candle? Well, no, because actually if we had entered down here, actually I can even use my highlighter here. Let's say we had entered down here, well, we had red candles here. Would we have exited here? Possibly. Would we have exited here? Here? This would have been a little bit late. So we go through these reasons of, why are you going to enter? Why are you going to exit your trades? And hopefully that makes a huge, huge difference. And I've already heard from most of them that it does make a big difference. I mean, this one, I'm going to say, this really adds up, because again, you can see this is somebody that's gone through one of the prior programs. They're still enrolled in the next one. They had one profit already there of $10.95. They had another buy-in here, and they exited up here, and they got that was I'm not sure how much profit. Oh, that was another $10 up there. So he had two trades on that, and they were super duper trades because he had a strategy, which was I'm going to say it's a little bit more mechanical, a little bit more mechanized reasons to why we entered and why we exit. And that's why we know why the trading system works and why you are successful, because you followed your rules. Success is about following your rules, even if you didn't make money. And I know that sounds a little bit painful, Paul, but we can't win on every trade. So sometimes we have to accept that there is a loss, but we got out because it was really going in the wrong direction. And you know what? I'm going to look for the better entry price. I like to buy at discount prices. So should you. So should everyone. Paul?
Awesome, Brian. And I know for some people that are new, that might have been a little over their head, but don't worry about that. This was at the end of a program, and this person was absolutely loving the idea that they had a strategy to follow. And the reason I keep bringing that up, I've been trading for a long time myself, and without a strategy, you're kind of going in and letting the waves push you around, and just following what the market is doing instead of chasing the market. Wouldn't it be great to go out there and have the actual plan, an actual strategy to allow you to profit on the way up and the way down? A lot of people think on a down day in the market, I'm just going to sit aside and I'll hope that tomorrow is an up day. Well, you can actually make a lot more money on a down day. The next big question, Brian, I get all the time, and I see you already brought up the slide. People ask me all the time, man, I get into a trade, I get out of it, and then it would have gone and I would have made a lot of money. Or I got out of it too soon and I would have made a lot of money. Or I held on too long and I just was holding on thinking it would get back to even. And oh my God, if I got back to even, I'd be so happy just to break even. But I took a big loss because I wasn't knowledgeable enough. And bottom line is, my emotions got in the way. I don't have trading rules. I don't have a strategy. My emotions, my trading psychology is all messed up. Brian, how does small group coaching help control emotions, which to tell you the truth, is usually what happens to people over time if they don't control them with strategy. So how does small group coaching help me control and master my emotions?
Yeah, so it's a very good question because, again, the trading strategy will give you an idea when you should be entering your trades, but it should help you to identify reasonable exits. As I say, profitable or not profitable, but if you've bought in, let's say at $10 and your stock's gone up to $20, why are you still holding it when it's back to $11 or maybe even going down to $9? You should have been out long ago, and probably there were a lot of good signals on the way. So again, that comes down to our good old faithful strategy. So again, we hand this out to everyone. We show you how to fill this in and complete it. You rework it any way you want, and that's why we've got comment areas on here to help you formulate in your mind. It's mechanizing how you make a trade, but it's not making it into a robotic trades, because again, there's always some emotions that are required. And I've seen some days, Paul, where if you'd been watching the candles as they were evolving, you could see that it was exceptionally volatile. Those were days where I did not want to place a trade because it moved way too fast, literally in both directions. I mean, I would have been taken out and I could have possibly had super duper targets, but it was an uncontrollable market. So again, you don't want to have a robot trading on those days. It's just too wild. So a trading strategy is the most important tool for any trader. And again, if you want to be, I'm going to say like a superstar, like one of the New York floor traders, if you don't have a trading strategy, you're not employed. They would kick you off the floor. It's that simple. And if you don't follow your trading strategy, they'd fire you. And I knew someone who actually was a floor trader. He was the manager, and he sacked someone because he says, yeah, it doesn't matter, you made money. You didn't follow your rules, therefore you're out. Your rules, you created them because you've back tested, you've shown it to your friends, us in the group, shared it with us, and we've all looked at it and we all think, oh, wow, isn't that nice and exciting? And you've said that's what you're going to trade to. So that's what you need to trade against. So it details, as I've said, why and how to take your trades, entries, and exits. And as I say, maybe a stop loss because the market started to go the wrong way. Yep. Or maybe you've made some profit and it's starting to come back. And it's like, well, I'm not sure if it's going to go any higher, but you're going to have some ideas why you could be exiting and enjoy some profits. And you can always re-enter again. And that's always the big thing, isn't it? You can buy back in if it then reverses and goes back up. Successful traders know this is the key to their success. Without a strategy, a trading strategy, and a documented strategy, it's all in your head. And therefore, you can always sort of mishmash everything around, and you're always going to be right, but you're not always going to be successful in your trades. So again, we just write it down. It's for you. At the end of the day, it's your trading strategy. So backtesting the strategy, we review with everyone how to backtest the strategy. We take a look at a few months as a minimum, a couple different trends of the market to see how it might work well, how it doesn't work, how often you might be trading. That's another thing. Some people say, well, I can only trade, maybe once a week. Fine. You know what? Already we have ideas what type of strategy you need to look at. So the backtesting, very, very important. And hopefully this helps you to understand how the market operates and how to trade with your strategy. So you get an opportunity to present your strategy to the team. So again, the more you can verbally communicate your strategy, the more it's going to be deep rooted into your psyche. And you're going to say, yeah, now I know it, because you know what? I've had those hard questions and I answered them. And the hard question is, does it work all the time? Well, it doesn't work all the time, but you've got to know when to exit. So if you can explain it, you can visualize it. And that's most important. There you go. A trading strategy. It's a way to make your trading less emotional and more mechanical. There's always going to be emotions, but if you can make it a little bit less emotional, then all the better. And there's tips and tricks, Paul, and we all shared with everyone, oh, I do this. And Steve came on one day and Steve said, right, well, I do it that way so that I don't have emotions. Hey, great. Every little tidbit is going to help us, and probably, as you would say, Paul, if people take away only one idea out of this presentation, that could make them a lot of money. So back to you.
Brian, as I listen to you, I just realized the passion that you bring to trading in general, but to be able to help our students is fantastic. And I've been getting feedback from our students from the group that just ended the small group coaching program, and people call me and tell me things like, hey, this was great. I went in thinking, hey, if I could, learn enough to do a couple of good trades, it'll pay for itself. But it turns out that I now have a lifelong strategy that I can utilize along with other strategies that they've learned from other students in the group. So it's really great. Brian, I got one more question. Um, I have many questions for you, Brian, but next question. I'm new to trading. This is, something I get often from people. I'm new to trading. Can this help me? Is this going to be over my head? Or how can small group coaching really help me?
Actually, I remember at least one lad from the last session. Maybe there's even two or three, but not everybody verbalizes, Paul. But the one guy said, "My God, I've been trading for years, but you have explained it in such a way that he now understands what he's doing." He was taking trades, and unfortunately, he didn't know. Probably like me when I was younger. You have your stockbroker, and he says, buy IBM now. Yeah, okay. Throw some money at it. Now people are starting to understand it. So we talk on a level so that everyone can understand, but it's not about dumbing it down, not at all, because it's still an important thing and concept to understand. But we want to talk simple because, again, I'm not here to impress you with big fancy words of any type, but it is about making money continuously and successfully. And that's why I've got the growing coin piles here, because you know what, you're not going to make your $1 million with your first 3 trades. It's just not likely going to happen. You're going to have to do it over a bit of time. But again, success is, again, consistently growing your account. And again, whether you're coming in with $100 or $100 million, you're going to learn something from the program. So an important factor is building your confidence as a trader. Take one trade today, one that you can afford. Show you how to get into a trade, have a little bit of calm and confidence behind you to say, well, okay, I've put in $100 and we're going to watch it go. And we're going to trade to our set of rules. So we're going to look for the better entries, the better markets that have good entries. We're going to develop your personal trading strategy so that you own it. You can change it. And again, if the market decides to change its personality, go shooting up like a rocket, guess what? You're going to want to change your strategy a little bit. And if it starts to go down, like Paul, you said this in the beginning, why not trade to the downside? Right, we can get into the options. We'll talk about buying some puts and make money when the market's going down. Fantastic. So again, you'll have at least one strategy when they leave this. I would expect people would have 3 to 5 strategies if they wanted them. It's just a matter of listening to everyone else. In fact, they could have had probably close to a dozen. I've taken my one single strategy and I've sort of blown it up into 3 to 5 strategies, because this, because that, and it's just slight evolutions. But if you followed the one strategy to the letter, I'd be taking maybe 1 trade a week. But now I can take maybe 5 different types of trades a week, depending on how the market's acting and behaving. There we go. So learn to make successful trades. And that doesn't mean, as I said, that doesn't mean you make money on every trade. Getting out of a trade that's going wrong, even though it was set up beautifully. Somebody opens their mouth and says, yeah, interest rates are going up. Oh, all of a sudden the market reacts and starts to go down. Well, guess what? You had an emergency system in place that said, if it touches this price, I'm out. Great. And now you watch it go down, 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 and then it starts to turn again, and you find your next possible entry. So understanding entries and exits, it's powerful. As I say, we don't want to do just entries. It's also the exits. That's the power part. And the power of other trading strategies. We had some people say, oh, yeah, but I didn't really want this, Brian, and they wanted to drop out of the group. And I said, well, what you're going to gain out of small group coaching is to hear everybody else's strategy, and the big comment of, well, why are they doing it that way? Or what are they seeing and emotionally feeling? That was the big thing. And that person came back to me and said, oh my God, a lot has happened, and I didn't appreciate what was going to happen. And I know their trading has improved at least 100% simply from hearing other ideas and possibilities. And there we go. I've said this before, it's good for equities, it's good for options, it's good for futures traders, forex, and crypto traders. Which market do you want to trade? You know, again, that's up to you. But again, it's the strategy. You need to have a strategy. Why am I buying Bitcoin today? I don't know. Do you know why you're buying it today? Just because everyone says isn't a good reason. So there we go. It's a bit of a roundup there. So small group coaching, you know, again, we all have an opportunity to speak. You know, again, I unmute everyone and they get a chance to speak one at a time, and we discuss their questions, their trading strategy, things that have gone well, things that haven't gone so well. Sometimes it's good to talk about, well, I don't know why this trade went well. Okay. And if you don't understand why it didn't go well, then we can talk about that as well. Sometimes there's no reason, and you just needed to have that stop loss, the exit. All sessions are recorded, and there you go. They're available for replay. Takes a couple of hours just to get that put up, and we put that into the Facebook group, and we also email it out to everyone so that you've got it, and then you can look at it and listen to it again if you want, or check out different pieces of it, because we go through a lot of material. It's not just an education, as I say. We bring up the live charts, and someone says, yeah, you know, go to this stock, and this is what I was trading, and well, why didn't this go up? Well, okay, we talk about these things, and you should all be learning a little something from each person's stock or market that they're looking at. So we do, you know, again, we got the discussion group within Facebook, and of course my direct email if needed. It's good to have things within the Facebook group because everyone is curious, even though they don't say it a lot. You know, a lot of us traders, we're a little bit shy. You know, we don't talk a lot, not like I am right today. But so again, it's good to put some comments into Facebook. It's good to learn from each other, or at least then you can come back next week and say, well, Jimmy said this, but I don't quite understand what he's talking about. Great. I love those questions. We'll ask Jimmy first, and then I'll add my comments. So and again, this is your opportunity to have group support for your trading ideas and questions. No one's going to steal your ideas. Everyone's going to trade their own way at the end of the day, and the only thing you can do is really bolster your own knowledge and intelligence and understanding of what is a good strategy, what is a good way to trade, and how to make my trading more successful. And that's a big key for a lot of people. Yes, I'm making some money, but I'm not really making enough. Well, do you know how to let your money or let your good trades roll longer? People say that. What the heck does that mean? Well, we talk about that, and we show you better potential exit points. And people are going to tell you what they do for exiting, which is fantastic. And there we go. So we're going to learn literally some of the best strategies and ideas of how to trade. Literally, this is the feet on the ground. How do I actually trade? And this is what people show you. Other people are going to show you, well, this is why I enter. This is why I don't enter. I'm going to do exactly the same thing. We're going to have other presenters come in and present their strategy, and we're going to pick it apart and say, well, can we make their strategy even better? Nothing is perfect, but it is about making it as perfect for you as we can do. And there we go. This is all about trading success. I love trading, and that's what I do full time. And I would like you guys to also share in that, because again, to be a success at trading makes you feel so much better inside. And it doesn't mean that you have to day trade. It doesn't mean that you're sitting at the computer all day. It doesn't mean that you even trade 5 days a week. But successful trading can be easy if you know how to read the charts and understand what the market is doing. So which part of it comes back to, I've got to understand some of the candle patterns. So that's why we suggest as minimum the Express class as an understanding of what candle patterns are, what's the force mean, what's a market. And you know, again, a market is it could be any stock, it could be any option, you know, any currency, anything out there that you're trading. But there are a few things that you need to look at in the depth. So again, join us. Look below for details on how to reserve your seat now, because again, it is a small group. We do have a very limited number of seats available. Some of them are already filled up already, which is great. People have come back because they want to go to the next level. And that's the beauty, is that each time we do one of these modules, they keep putting on another building blocks on top of what they learned last time. And it's going to add more to their success. So maybe they found out better ways to make entries, and now they're going to look at better ways to make exits. Or better Western technicals. What else should I do? How else can I do it? And they want to hear more. Because again, we like success. It doesn't have to be hard work, as I say. You know, you could trade couple minutes a day, literally look at a couple of charts and say, there's no trade, and walk away. When there is a trade, you might place one trade, you might place 2 or 3, and that's it. And then you hopefully you can leave it and you walk away for a couple weeks, couple months, depending on what you want to do and how you want to trade. But your success needs to be built into your trading strategy. And with group support, it goes a long, long way. I would wrap it up by saying that the group support means, again, you get to verbalize what you're thinking, what you're saying, and we all get to have a chat about it. And hopefully that really helps you to then really comprehend and understand, what does that all mean? Your potential losses, your potential gains, and everything else. So thanks a lot, everybody, for joining in. Make sure to register, get in as quick as you can before we close the doors, because we want to get this thing started as soon as possible. And as I say, we only have room for so many people to speak during each session. So come on in and join us. You won't regret it. It will be the best time of your life. We have fun. We get very sociable with each other, and we love sharing our stories of good and the bad, and we go from there. Thanks, everybody. Good luck with your trading, and we'll see you at the next small group coaching session. Bye-bye.